Have you ever gotten one of those recall notices in the mail and just, tossed it on the counter for later? Yeah, we all have. But what if that letter is actually a warning about a serious failure just waiting to happen? We're going to dive into the shocking number of vehicle recalls happening right now, why they're happening, and most importantly, what you can do to make sure your car is actually safe to drive.
Let's just start with a number that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 27 million. That is how many vehicles were recalled in the US in 2024 alone. I mean, think about that. That's more than the total number of brand new cars sold that entire year. This isn't some rare thing. It's a massive, constant wave of safety issues hitting millions of drivers.
So, what is going on here? Are cars just getting less reliable? And in the middle of all this, how are you supposed to protect yourself and your family? We are going to get into all of that.
There's this common myth that recalls are for, minor stuff, a broken radio knob or a leaky seal. But the reality, it's way more serious. Recalls are surging, and they often involve the most critical safety systems in your car. A big reason for this is that our cars aren't just engines and wheels anymore. They are literally supercomputers. And with all that complexity, there are just so many more things that can go wrong.
And this trend is not slowing down. Not at all. We're only a little ways into 2025, and we've already hit over 3.5 million vehicles recalled. This just shows that it's a persistent problem we all need to stay on top of. So let's break down exactly what's failing.
So when you look behind the numbers, what are the big culprits? Let's take a look at two of the most critical failures that are putting millions of us at risk.
First up, the one that probably terrifies every driver: brake failure. It is consistently a top reason for recalls, and it's pretty obvious why. If your brakes don't work, nothing else matters, right? It's the most basic, fundamental safety feature, and any issue here is an emergency waiting to happen.
And it's not just one thing. A recall could be for a slow brake fluid leak that you might not even notice until it's too late. Or it could be a total malfunction of the anti-lock braking system, the ABS. That's the thing that's supposed to keep your wheels from locking up and sending you into a skid. Either way, these are defects with potentially catastrophic results.
All right, next is the safety feature we all rely on but hope we never ever have to use: our airbags. We just trust that they'll be there for us in a crash, but here's a scary truth. Airbag malfunctions are another leading cause of recalls.
So what can go wrong? Well, for one, the airbag might just not deploy at all. Or, and this is truly terrifying, it might have a defective inflator. This means instead of a soft cushion, the airbag deploys with explosive force, literally shooting metal shrapnel into the car. And sometimes it's just a software glitch that keeps the whole system from working. All of these failures can turn what should have been a survivable accident into something much, much worse.
So you have to ask, why is this happening? And this quote from the research really just says it all. These aren't just random flukes. They often trace back to poor engineering and flawed design. It really points to a much bigger, more systemic problem. To really see how devastating these kinds of failures can be, let's just look at one real-world example. This isn't a what-if, this is a defect that had tragic, widespread consequences.
The problem was a faulty ignition switch in General Motors vehicles, and it ended up affecting a mind-boggling 2.6 million cars. And this wasn't some tiny flaw, it was a fundamental engineering mistake that basically put a ticking time bomb right in the car's core electrical system.
Here's why it was so deadly. Just a slight bump from your knee could jiggle the key and turn the ignition switch from on to off while you're driving down the road. And when that happened, the engine shut off instantly. And with it, you lost everything. Power steering, gone. Power brakes, gone. And crucially, your airbags were disabled. You were suddenly trapped in a dead vehicle, coasting without control and with no protection. So with all these potential dangers, who's actually supposed to be looking out for us? Well, let's talk about the safety watchdogs, the groups whose job it is to set the rules and hold car makers accountable.
The main player here in the US is NHTSA. That stands for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The easiest way to think of them is like the federal referees for car safety. They set the standards every car has to meet, and they have the power to investigate problems and force a company to issue a recall.
And what they do has a huge direct impact. For example, in early 2024, recalls actually jumped up by 8%. Now, why? It's because regulators like NHTSA were increasing their scrutiny. So when the watchdogs are watching more closely, more problems get found and more recalls get issued. It's a sign the system is working, but it's also a scary reminder of just how many issues are out there.
Okay, I know that was a lot of pretty serious stuff, but here is the good news.
You are not powerless here. There are simple, real things you can do to protect yourself. Let's walk through them.
It really just comes down to a simple 3-step plan. 1. If you get a recall notice in the mail, do not ignore it. Open it up, read it, and understand what the actual risk is. 2. Call your dealer right away. Don't put it off. Get that repair scheduled. And 3. Be proactive. Don't just wait for a letter to show up. You can check for recalls yourself using your car's vehicle identification number or VIN.
And it is so important to know your rights as a car owner. The biggest one? Any repair related to a safety recall has to be done for free. Period. You also have a right to get clear information about what's wrong and to get the repair done in a timely manner. Don't let a dealership brush you off.
So if there is only one thing you take away from all this, please let it be this. You can go to nhtsa.gov, that's nhtsa.gov, and you can enter your car's 17-digit VIN. In less than a minute, you will see if there are any open recalls on your vehicle. It's the single best, easiest thing you can do for your peace of mind.
And all this leads to a really big final question. The same complexity that gives us amazing features in our cars is also the source of some of these dangerous flaws. As our cars get smarter and more connected, are we heading into an endless cycle of trading innovation for safety? It's definitely something to think about the next time you get behind the wheel.